Welcome everybody to Welcome everybody to Coder Clipping episode 265 for April 13th, 2026. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We are clipping once again 1914 Twilight in the East, and we are drinking Bowmore 15-year-old. I do not like the younger Bowmores that I have had. This is excellent. It is bottled at a minimal 43%. Minimal in the sense of, maybe a little pricier scotch, which it was. So thanks everybody for coming out this evening. I'll remind everyone to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done that. There are a pile of ways to help support the show and the channel, all of which are much appreciated by me, in the video description, so check all those out. I'd like to thank the patrons of Ardwulf's Lair, without whose support and encouragement you would not be continuing to see this material, and there is a link to the Patreon in the video description as well. I'd also like to thank our good friends at Noble Knight Games, who are the official sponsors of the Counter Clipping show. So we will hear from them later. And if you're going to buy games anyway from Noble Knight, there is an affiliate link in the video description. If you do so through that link, then I get a little extra in the form of stored credit. So thanks very much for those who have availed themselves of the affiliate link. We do not have an explicit topic this evening, so I'm just going to talk about whatever. But I'm going to get started by talking about channel stuff. And before we get any further than that, there will be not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 10 items given away this evening. None of them are enormous, but there are 10, and they are all things I either need to clear out for space reasons, regrettably, or there are actual duplicates that I need to clear out for space reasons. 10 of them are Wargame pieces. 5 of them are Wargame pieces, and 5 of them are RPG pieces. And the RPG pieces are not all Traveler. They are, because not everything I have a duplicate of is Traveler. So we'll be talking about that tonight, and that is all set up already. So before, well, I don't know if I have it before, actually. I will post the link to the Ardwulf Lair Discord community in the chat. That'll be good for about a week. If you're watching this after that, then feel free to email me. My email address is in the ticker at the bottom of the screen. So I will give you your own custom invitation. There is also an RPG Digest server from the RPG Digest channel that I never launched. I mean, it exists, but it never launched, and at current plan calls it to not. So it is also true. I have noted already in the chat, once again, thanks everyone for coming. The Stigler has referred to the Blessed Highland Pipes of Scotland as bleat bags, which is really fantastic on his part. I have to agree that that is a good one. Nevertheless, they remain the Sacred Pipes of Scotland. So that's Discord channel. I'm really, I kind of do want to touch on that because, I won't say that there have never been, wads, as we call them, the various types of wads. While that has occasionally popped up here at Ardwulf's Lair, it has really very, very, very seldom popped up, and I'm so happy about that. I am continually delighted in the quality of the people in the community here at Ardwulf's Lair. So thank you. That means thank you all. For being here and sticking around and contributing to our polite, if sometimes raucous discourse that we have both here and on the Discord community. If anyone would like a an RPG Digest or a Discord community. So right now, the big Western Braunstein has wrapped up on RPG Discord, which means the only active game that's running on it right now is mine. So if anyone would like to run a game on the RPG Digest Discord server, then please reach out to me. On Discord would probably be best. I don't care what it is. We'll make space for it. It is not a problem. There is Traveler. I'm not shocking anyone with this stunning revelation that some of it is Traveler. But there's Rune Quest Book 2. So a Rune Quest rule book. It is Rune Quest second edition. I'll talk about it when it comes up. It is a Rune Quest rulebook, but not the current one. Is there a Dallas RPG Discord? You know what? There was a little bit of a peak in talk in the RPG side of things. There was a little uptick in talk maybe a year or two ago about the Dallas RPG, and I really should do a video about it. I mean, there's an unboxing of it, which mine is in amazing condition, remarkably enough. And I think I bought it on eBay, actually. I think that was not a Noble Net, but was in the shrink wrap at the time. There's an unboxing video if you want to see it. It is an interesting historical piece in the annals of RPG history. Mark McNair, thanks for stopping by. And let me try this, even though it doesn't really work now. I can't do it from there. So let's say hi to some folks. Sean Sullivan, David Imperato is here. Our intrepid moderator, Stacking Limit, and Danny Secretary are in tonight. Of course, Stigler is already here. Let's see who else we have popping up. Stuka Joe. Joe, thanks for stopping by. Vince Ree is here. I'm gonna miss people. I'm sorry. Stephen Rochelle is in the house. Vince said Mike Berticelli. Eric Selna is here. Stonewall is here as well. Eric Goebel, Joe Okabayashi, Marshall Bob, Uncle Floyd, Chris Yap is here. A2N644. Board Gaming Geezer, always great to see you here. Bill from Molotov Cockatiel Games is in the house. Jeff Beeler, of course, is in the house. Brian Gash, Brian, thanks for stopping by. Blue Ronin Bob, Blue Ronin Rob, sorry about that, Rob. And Casimir, welcome back to the show. Mr. Mark Herman is in the house. Mark, thanks for stopping by. Daniel Silverthorne. It used to just tell me everybody's name, right? And it doesn't anymore, and that's infuriating. Michael Brett used the Noble Knight link yesterday. Thank you so much. And of course, the reason for the lack of explicit topic tonight and the reason for 10 giveaways is, of course, the fact that we hit 10,000 subscribers. I think that would have happened at like a year prior had I done a better job with this channel. I am not incredibly confident about the job I have done with the channel of late. So by all means, I still haven't gotten a haircut. Believe it or not, this is doing okay for the day, but I put product in it. So Ryan Hard, thanks for stopping by, and thank you very much for the congratulations. So yeah, a lot of people. I think there's people here tonight that have been around from long way back. Arclight, Lee Grant. I'm already backed up on the chat here. Indeed, Stigler has already complained about the sacred pipes of Scotland. Alistair Logie, thanks so much for the contribution, as well as your continual support and encouragement. I really do appreciate it. It's always welcome. What we need is a John card. We do. This needs to happen. I just have to kind of figure out, a freaking schedule that works for me, which, being unemployed sounds like it would be incredibly helpful, and it hasn't been. What I've been doing is sitting in this basement programming for the last week, like 10 hours or 12 hours a day. So if anybody wonders about how I got this done, so the program done so fast, if I haven't talked about that yet on this show, although I did mention it last night on the Chit Show. So I'll get into that a little bit tonight here too. Pocket String, thanks for stopping by. I'm told Army of the Potomac is indeed very close to shipping, so that is awesome. I have not even downloaded this yet. I've got Harn stuff and I've got Traveler stuff to download. I haven't really looked at Pioneer. I gotta be honest. I bought Pioneer more for the collection than because I have any plan to do with it. Now, that said, as a travel compatible thing, I will certainly find some use for it somewhere. Ooh, you've just encountered a TL7 Lake TL7 planet that is just launching its early spacecraft. Well, I will be happy to lift those directly from Pioneer. But at the moment, my interest is in running the big space opera. So Dave Poirier, thanks so much, and thanks for coming out. Modifius has John Carter on sale. I think they lost the license. I like the game. I think that's an okay system. I'm not thrilled with that system in that particular implementation. I think the best implementations of that 2D20 Modifius system, in my opinion, are the new Dune game and Star Trek Adventures, and actually the Conan game that they actually also lost their license for that. So they were liquidating that some years ago, and I have the core book and a couple of the supplements, and that's fine. I'm not sure I would ever do anything with that anyway. So yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So Circle DC happened last weekend, so that's pretty cool. Also, yeah, we got a shout out. I don't have a link for this or anything, but go to mmpgamers.com and check out the fact that they're pretty much got everything in the company on sale at this point. So they are making space for their new production methods, and they're not moving the warehouse apparently. So now is a good time to take advantage of filling those gaps in whatever collections you're collecting from Multi-Man Publishing. And thank you, Danny, for reminding me of that, because it is one of the many things that blazed by at some point during the week, and I might have forgotten about it otherwise until like 2 hours into the show. Carl Crater from the Wargame Bootcamp, developer of shit. Because I've never played that game, it's in my head. The Frank Chadwick classic Civil War point-to-point game from GDW that's coming back out from GMT. Somebody, House Divided. Thank you. I can never remember the name of this game. I played it now. Actually, I don't even have that excuse anymore. So this might be sitting in an. I don't know if Mark ever turned it in. He might say. But I know he's got a copy. I'd love to see it too, actually. Otherwise, I suspect that there might be records in the annals of Wizards of the Coast at this point. I should do more funny videos too. I used to do funny videos. I haven't done any funny videos in a long time. I'll point that out. Humble Bundle I think it's Humble Bundle, has a big PDF sale on the Modifius Dune. It's well worthwhile if you're interested. I do think it is the best of the Dune RPGs. It's not close, in my opinion. Let me put it that way. And I will count. What was it called? Was it called Jihad? It was. There was a Dune with the serial numbers peeled off thing from the Burning Wheel folks, and I've got that too, and that's neat. Just like Burning Wheel is neat, but I'm never going to run it, and I probably will never play it again. Wolf Dog is investing in Ericor from BCS. Good choice. BCS is fabulous. You should play that. If they actually put Case Blue, well, they don't have any, so it's as simple as that. And I did get to Carl, right? So thanks, Carl, so much for the support. It is much appreciated. And congratulations as well. It's a reprint that hasn't gone to print yet. Magazine and Inflection Point are what's in stock. And I will say that I think the cheer game is pretty decent introductory game for BCS. The Kalak part of Inflection Point is quite a bit bigger and will take quite a bit longer to deal with. But Cheer is quite compact in terms of footprint and in terms of time it'll take to play. You probably won't play it in one sitting, but I didn't try any of the scenarios either. You won't play the campaign in one sitting, but there's smaller scenarios. I do like the One Ring RPG, but this is good. This could be a good price depending on what's in it. I've got all of them, so I don't need it. I mean, I might not have them all, actually. They might have done something more recently that I didn't grab. Bill from Molotov Cockatiel asked, what do I think of the One Ring RPG? It's over here. I do really like the new one from the Free League. It is the same game system as the previous edition from whoever was doing that. And I played that version. I actually haven't played the new one. It's very nice. I do feel there is a sense in me that it feels really limited compared to what one could do with Middle-earth role-playing, the old Middle-earth role-playing. Because in MERP, you could, whenever and wherever you want to set your game in Middle-earth. If second age, first age, you might have a little bit of a harder time doing, but there was support for it, right? You want stats for Fëanor? They're in Lords of Middle-earth, the one with the elves. So you could get a lot of different types of Middle-earth games done in MERP. It's not as good a match for this. The system is not as good a match for this setting. Everybody agrees with that. But what the One Ring RPG does, and it does it very well, but it is choosing the time and place in Middle-earth in which to set my campaign, unless I would like to do a great deal of solid unpaid development work on such a campaign. And I miss what MERP could do in that regard. So what I'd love to see is somebody, and it ain't going to be me, do like a blending of ideas from the two and say, all right, so you want, black Numenorians? Here's stats for them. And I would love to see that, but nobody has done that. So we do almost always end up talking about ASL at some point. Somebody asked if they were going to reprint Kingdom of Heaven. I encourage them to do that. And I encourage them to find a model that enables them to reprint games that people really, really want, like that in Case Blue and Kingdom of Heaven. Because currently they're not doing a great job at that, and I think they feel like they can't. They feel like they can't realistically reprint those things. But there's a lot of room for innovation here. MMP, if you're watching, I am available for consulting work. So if you want to have a conversation about that, give me a ring. You know my address. So, all right. Drew just start. Oh, Pocket String, thank you so much for the support and the congratulations. It is much appreciated, and especially appreciated at this time of financial ruin. So I'm exaggerating. That is somewhat hyperbolic, but it is nevertheless appreciated. All right, so Drew Detterer just started Inflection Point, the Calac scenario, the campaign, which is fantastic. I haven't played Calac yet, though. There is a lot of map. The density is pretty low. I think if you haven't played, Drew, you've at least seen BCS played before. So if this is your first BCS, and I'm kind of sure it isn't, then yeah, it's low counter density. It'll increase. Don't worry about it. Well, it's beautiful. I will, and I said this, I will, and again, I think the One Ring game from Free League and the previous publisher is a really good game. It is beautifully produced. I continue to, fortunately, they do not have an enormous amount of product coming out of it on a yearly basis. I have the core, I did the Kickstarter when it came, when that was the thing. So I got the starter set, the core book, Ruins of the Lost Realm, which I think was included in the Kickstarter as well, but shipped later, along with the dice that they had to fix. Tales from the Lone Lands. I've got the Moria book, and there's something that I can't make out the title of over there that I haven't really done any research on, but it is all gorgeous. I did give Moria a perusal because I had to. So, all right, so. Panzer's Last Stand was not on sale. That's interesting, really, but is in stock. It's not on sale because stocks are low. That's probably true. If you're feeling like BCS is really awesome, maybe buy that now from somewhere. I'd appreciate it if you'd use the Noble Knight affiliate link. So the 5e, yeah. So I haven't even bothered to look at those. So this is what Neil Badke is talking about is. In addition to the Free League One Ring stuff that the One Ring stuff that Free League is doing with its own system that is built to support play in Middle Earth, there is also a series of books that you can buy that adapt Middle Earth to D&D. I have no objection to that, actually. I mean, it's not like people haven't been doing, putting Tolkien-esque stuff in their games since the beginning anyway, right? That's why that is there. So while I haven't looked at these and I'm not interested in them, I have no objection to them existing. And if they are helping Free League out, then cool. The One Ring, Sligonic says that the One Ring had a very sequence of play feel to me. It's incredibly regimented. Yes, I think it is. I think that system in general is. And while it isn't the same system as Free League's in-house Mutant Year Zero system, I feel like it is the same way. It felt like the same way to me. And I played a little bit of Forbidden Lands, which I strongly wanted to like and ended up not. There are things I like about it. I just didn't enjoy it in actual play. I thought it was a drag. All right, Carl Fung is here. Carl, thanks for stopping by. And we're already talking and filleting BCS as we speak here. All right. I am trying to keep up with the chat here. So, so MMP has said that the sale is clearing space because their new production processes should support more reprints. So awesome. I am pro whatever MMP is working on. So that's cool. Neil Bedke ran RM here means Rollmaster, folks. In TA 1600 to 1700 would run third age. Run him in. Yeah, I mean, you had stats for all that. You want to play a black? No problem. You want to play a black Numenorian? It's all in there. Well, so GCACW is something that has been reprinted already. So I would not rule out that it could happen even if MMP doesn't change their model for reprints. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were playing with those guys. So it does, but specifically, it really fits the third age. I mean, that's not to say I couldn't do like a second age game or even a first age game in it, but I would have to like almost completely rebuild the game to do that, and I have no interest in that. I'll run it in MERP. I got that if I really felt like that was something I wanted to do. It's not. Marty Sample will never play an RPG again because he has become a curmudgeon like me. But it's fun to read through the various modules you can find online. They really did have the passion, and they really did stretch the boundaries of the license that they actually had, well beyond its breaking point, to include material that is absent from the appendices and stuff. But this is, back in a day when people were the owners of the IP were paying a lot less attention to the details and specifics. As long as the checks kept coming in, it didn't matter. All right. Okay, cool. Hey, if now's the time, right? If it's on sale. Oh, interesting. Michael Pratt says that there's likely to be a game of Patent in Flames, which is kind of one of the ways to play World in Flames. This is the Patent Stream scenario where it's the Western Allies and some Germans against the Soviets and some other Germans. So please thumbs up the show. Thank you, Stanking Limit, for reminding us all. Bill says it's like that Traveler 5e. You showed me there's interest in that. There is interest in that. They're funded like $500,000 or something like that. I just, whatever. That's cool. I would, again, if I was going to do something with the One Ring, I would use the One Ring and not D&D because it's built for that. D&D is not a Tolkien ripoff and never was. But remember that it wasn't, even at the very beginning, it wasn't just Gary who was shaping that game. And I take Gary at his word in that it is not necessarily the direct inspiration, but, Gary was playing with other people, right? So, and if they wanted it, and it went. So, all right. All right, folks, I think it is time. We're actually late. It is time for the first of 10 giveaways. Do I have everything I need to do that? I had most of the things I needed to do that. Today's giveaway giveaway number 1 is Fall of Empires. This is courtesy of Avalanche Press. It is the Ziploc version, but it is the complete package. This is Panzer Grenadier for the Western Front of World War I. I would actually really like to try this, but I am just not going to get to it. So we will be giving it away this evening. And no, this is not the same Panzer Grenadier thing that we gave away a couple of weeks ago on the Chit Show. It is unpunched, unplayed, unnothined. I have glanced through it, and that's about it. So thanks to Avalanche Press and Mike Benninghoff for sending this my way. We're giving it away tonight. So there are good folks over there. So let's, where's my thing? There we go. So hashtag Fall of Empires, all one word, folks. That is item number 1 on the giveaway pile for tonight. So I will give it a few minutes while I continue to stretch my prodigious yap. All right. So, and Brant's right here. Gary did protest at great length about how he didn't consider Tolkien to be a particularly strong influence on D&D. Carl's playing Last Blitzkrieg. It's a fantastic game. Really loved it. It does not. It uses so they picked up the license from somewhere. Somebody else lost the license. They picked it up and they elected to basically redo the same game in an even more attractive. The original was pretty attractive. This is another thing I should have had a news announcement for. VUCA has put In Force to Heaven up for pre-order over at the VUCA Simulations page. So if you checked out it's I'm not going to tell you it's cheap. It's not. But it also contains an enormous quantity of stuff. So that's why. And it will, of course, be like VUCA quality stuff. So check it out on VUCA's webpage. Greg, the designer, was kind enough to sit down for an interview a couple of weeks ago, and I eventually got that published. I've still got at least one interview that's got to get edited and sent up. So we will attempt to get that done this week. But In Force to Heaven, a game on Poland 39, is up for pre-order at VUCA Simulations, and I would encourage folks to take a look at it if you're interested in that topic. Not going to tell you that it isn't expensive. It is expensive. So, all right. So, well, a couple people are passing, which is perfectly okay. There, you will not be allowed to win multiple things tonight here, folks. I have that setting turned on. So you are going to have to, and I will tell you, there are wargamey games, and RPG stuff. The next item will be a traveler item. So, all right. As Marty points out, it's got a lot of stuff. It is expensive, but it will be top quality in terms of physical presentation. And I have a very strong feeling that Greg, the designer, has a good handle on the topic. So watch the interview if you want to know why. It was interesting, actually, when I did the interview, because like a lot of the questions I would normally ask, what interests you in this topic? He's Polish. I mean, this is like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln type stuff for him, right? So if I asked that question, yes, I feel stupid for having asked it. So I was thinking, as soon as I saw this, I thought about IBS, of course. So. All right, so we are going to last call on Fall of Empires. 39 persons have put in for this, and there are a couple of magazines with war games at the toward the end of the show. So last call, again, a couple other questions here. So, it would be really awesome if moderators would eject themselves. Not my moderators, don't do that. So, all right, we're going to hit the draw for Fall of Empires. Let's see who it is. Now, bear in mind, folks, if you are in the U.S., I will cover shipping. If you are not in the U.S., I will ask you to split shipping with me. So Eric Goebel has the big first win of the evening for infantry attacks. So I'm actually marking these so that we don't screw up any orders, because it's a lot of giveaways, folks, and I'm an idiot. So, all right, congrats to Eric Goebel for winning infantry attacks from Panzer Grenadier. Fall of Empires, sorry. This is actually infantry. I think they did a game called Infantry Attacks. That was the West Front. This is the East Front, actually. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. This is the Eastern Front of World War I. So it's considerably more exciting than trench warfare, 75 trench warfare scenarios. Over the top, boys, part 2. So, all right, so we're going to pull this down at this time and pull this down at this time and get ready for the next one. Why do I have to do that again? God damn it. Okay, cool. All right, let's get caught up on the chat here. Yes, Brent, I agree. We all agree with all of those. So, Thin Red Line. So where are they with this? Because I kind of fucking need this. Come on. Has First Man in Rome, which is the follow-up to The Fate of All, which I haven't had a chance to play yet, but it looks great, and I would very much like to play it. So, I wish I could get more playing in here, folks. What can I say? I think we do have some catch up to get into giving away 9 more things here tonight. So, if you are the winner, and this starts with you, Eric Goebel, congratulations. If you are the winner, please email me with your shipping address and actual name that the post office will recognize. Do not give me some kind of pseudonym. Tell me where you are, and I will get the product to you at the earliest opportunity. So, right. Let's see here. Boots and asses in moderation. Yes, exactly right. So, let's drink some more whiskey. We're in a celebratory mood, so I busted out the good scotch. I don't actually have any shitty scotch at the moment, however. Like, what would be shit? I mean, I don't know. I don't buy shitty scotch. So, but if I had like Dewar's, this is not a Dewar's night, or what's that? Great grouse, famous grouse. I actually like the famous grouse black. So connections online, as Brant has probably mentioned, is happening soon as well. So head over to the Armchair Dragoons site to hear all about that. That is coming right up. And and Brant does, one of the reasons why I kind of hit certain specific news highlights that are kind of interest to me. That's why you're getting the European news. But I feel like Brant over at the Armchair Dragoons, and frankly Dan on his Saturday show, generally do a better job with news than I do, and I don't really want to duplicate their amazing efforts. So, Brant, you were just biding your time. I like Johnny Walker Double Black. If I was going to buy if I was the kind of guy who was going to drink scotch every night, it would probably be Johnny Walker Double Black, because that's good stuff. Or frankly, regular Johnny Walker Black's pretty good too. So, and those are affordable blended scotches. So, what is this ABS that we're talking about? If we have said in the chat, I have missed it. Is this the automated thing that the baseball's doing? You can tell how much time I have to spend on professional sports, folks. That time is very close to zero. Well, yeah. So, okay. So I am aware of this, however, and I pretty much have no problem with it. Let me put it that way. So as long as it's doing a better job than some of the fucking bafflingly bad umpires they got in Major League Baseball at calling balls and strikes, I'm perfectly happy with that. Yeah, I mean, that's a common acronym, right? It's a common acronym. All right, so before the next giveaway, you know what? During the next giveaway, how about that? Let's do the next giveaway. It's not like we're not behind. All right, so the giveaway here is Traveler Reach Adventure 4, Last Flight of the Amuar. I'm a dope, and I bought more than one. So here is my duplicate. It is unthumbed through. It is a pretty cool looking adventure by Marty Doherty for the current edition of Mongoose Traveler. That's Mongoose Traveler 2nd edition. You can easily use this with any other edition of Traveler. Pretty much just eyeballing it, you're going to be fine. So although there's like lots of stats and things like that for ships and vehicles and all that jazz, if you're playing Mongoose Traveler 2nd edition like I am. So hashtag Amuar to win Traveler Reach Adventure 4, Last Flight of the Amuar. There might be a duplicate of my duplicate in this pile. Is there? Indeed, there is. So if you don't win this one, folks, there's one more of these coming up next after the next one. So I have, folks, I have really been weirdly reticent to talk about it on this show. I am running Mongoose Traveler 2nd edition at the moment. And because it's kind of one of the benefits to having a profile is I had no shortage of people who wanted to play. So I immediately filled up 2 groups of 5 and another 5 alternates. And we have already shed 1 player, and one of the alternates has come in and he's doing great. In general, I haven't game mastered anything sustained for many years. And I kind of got out of the vibe, and I have to be in the right frame, right, to be a decent game master, I think. And it's sort of me is sort of recapturing the game mastering mojo with Traveler, which is the game that I am most obviously invested in. So I have had some good nights and some bad nights as a game master. I think we've generally had a good time, and the players have put up with it when I was kind of not in the mojo was not there that night. But I think I'm doing okay. I'm very happy with the custom setting that I've designed. But one of the things that has happened is that I became, because I'm like running in my own Traveler universe and not in the official one. Travelermap.com is a fabulous resource, but unfortunately, it's not much of a resource for me. And I am designing this setting as I'm going, and there's certain visibility elements that I would like to have available. Can you highlight for me all the industrial worlds, or all the high population worlds, or all the worlds beyond this tech level number? Those would be enormously useful for world building across sectors and subsectors. And Travel Map just doesn't have that functionality. So I built a map editor. Or a map viewer, I should say, and that's kind of all it is at the moment. And I will eventually, if I finish it, I will make it available. And I've got it to a pretty good state of functionality. I'm not going to try and do screen shares. I am writing it in Python. So I'm not as I think I said on the chit show last night, I am not a talented or experienced programmer. I have written some code in the past, but I don't know Python. But fortunately, Python's pretty easy. So it's going very well, actually. And I have shared a number of screenshots of it, and steps along the way on the Ardwulf Lair, actually mostly on the RPG Digest now Discord community. So it's, I'm pleased with progress so far. I, however, kind of wrote everything. So like 90% of the functionality is built into this one massive file, because I didn't get to any of the software engineering stuff. And that's bad form, but at least I know that's bad form, and I am now restructuring it so every little thing is reusable, and there's a minimum of repetition of code and logic. As you're supposed to design complicated software right now. And then once it's done as a viewer, then it's done, and I will make it available to people. And then I might start continuing to build on it with other things that I'll perhaps talk about it at a later time. In the meantime, we have 16 people in on the hashtag Amuar for copy number 1 of Last Flight of the Amuar from Mongoose Publishing for their second edition of the Traveler role-playing game. Last call on that. I'll give it about another minute or so. And I have missed a ton of stuff. So, all right. I'm going to skip all the baseball talk. Yeah, so Bill says Molotov, or Bill from Molotov Cocktail says, I saw people in a Dungeon Master group say you should never say no to players no matter what they want to do. That is a game mastering philosophy that has been espoused by a number of people in a number of places. That is not how I game master. I will certainly try to work with people on things like character concepts, and I will even make changes to the universe if they want to do something that's I haven't thought of yet, right? So you should absolutely say no to players, in my opinion, if what they're going to do is something that's really dumb and is going to wreck the game. But you should also try to work with the creativity of your players as well. Okay. All right. So, yep. So check out the Connections Online for if you're interested, and it is worth your time, even if you're not a professional war gamer. There's guaranteed to be some interesting things, and it's not like it's expensive. So check it out over at the Armchair Dragoons. Well, so yeah, I'm not really thrilled with what Paramount seems to think they should do with Star Trek right now, to be completely honest. Well, no, this is a completely different thing. And there are other game masters who will. This is what's called railroading: is you may not deviate from the scripted adventure. And I'm also not a fan of that particular philosophy. There are adventures and even campaigns that people think are railroady that are not really railroady, but the players have to buy into. Hey, we're playing a published adventure. We're playing the published adventure. We're not just random agents of chaos too. It helps to play with people who are all in their 40s, frankly, or older. Strange New Worlds certainly had some good sticks. Lower Decks was shockingly good. And Picard, I don't know. I have the same issues with Picard, including the second season, that I had with a lot of the Disney Star Wars product. It's just rehashing old material. Strange New Worlds, at least, yeah, it's to some extent rehashing old material, but at least we're getting new stuff. It's not just strictly a reboot, right? Oh, well, I mean, this is okay. Yeah, but I'm not also not a huge believer in the sacredness of canon, right? I am a believer in you need to introduce new things into your media franchise from time to time, or it's just going to be the same goddamn thing over and over and over again. See also Mission Impossible. But at least Mission Impossible has the excuse that it was originally based on a TV series where you pretty much did the same kind of thing over and over and over again. But they managed to keep that interesting. You could do that with movies too, but they haven't. So, all right. So we got to give Amuar away here, folks. I've been dragging my feet too long. Not a ton of people have put in for this. So bear in mind, once again, if you are in the US, I will cover shipping. If you are not, then I will ask you to split shipping. Lee Grant, awesome. Lee is in my one of my 2 traveler groups that I am running. So congratulations to Lee. I may have people's addresses already. Please just send it to me. It's impossible for me to find old emails. So send me your email address or your physical address, and I will get it off to you. And one day you will be running Mongoose Traveler Second Edition. I will not be running this, so you don't have to worry about it. The next item up is a boxed war game, and we will do that in about 8 minutes. So let me pull this down. God damn it. There we go. All right. So, folks. Next season, Stranger. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so I think this is a bit of a stretch. But in many ways, I mean, we can talk about Star Wars for this segment, no problem, until the giveaway begins. So let's put that up. Yeah, all right. So there is good Star Wars material and bad Star Wars material. There's good Star Wars material that George Lucas did and bad Star Wars material that George Lucas did. There's good Star Wars material that Disney has done and bad Star Wars material than Disney has done. So, and you have to look into a lot of the Disney output has been for television. It is not all of uniformly even quality or even quality of writing or even quality special effects necessarily. The prequels are not great in terms of execution than in terms of ideas. I think it would have been more interesting if they had gone in different directions with the prequels. Each of the prequels nevertheless has something cool in it that at least I can say, okay, that's cool. In even The Last Jedi has some things in it that I can say, and I'm not talking about the Lightspeed thing. There's some things in Last Jedi that I liked. There was almost nothing in Rise of Skywalker that I liked. I thought it was an absolute shitbag. The Solo movie was okay. It wasn't great. In terms of the television, however, it's been just as uneven. Andor is fantastic. The Mandalorian started out really well and then just collapsed into we're just going to do fan service now by the end of its first season. Ahsoka is, I think, got a lot of good things in it, but also has absolutely high school level writing. The writing in it is just horrific. And I'm just going to talk about the live action stuff. Obi-Wan Kenobi was awful. The Book of Boba Fett was awful. Even the later Mandalorian stuff. We're gonna go see this new movie. I'm sure. I have no interest in it at all. My wife wants to see it. We'll see it. That's fine. I'll watch it. I will put up with Star Wars for the love of my beloved spouse. But I don't expect it to be great. So Rogue One was very good. You can even see that, a lot of stitching in Rogue One, though, where it was kind of reimagined halfway through the process of making it. And then got touched up some more at some point near the end by Tony Gilroy. I'm incredibly grateful to have gotten Andor in something that is as good as it. All right, so let's call the Star Wars talk to an end, and the next giveaway is going to be. Yeah, okay. This is fine. A boxed war game. Well, it's a card game, but I would certainly call this a war game. This is Chris Muller's 100 Days from the Napoleon's Eagles series. This is another thing that looks awesome. And this is the one that the cards are still wrapped, I believe. Indeed, it is. The cards are still wrapped in this one. If there was an insert, it got thrown in the rubbish. I am sorry. I simply don't have the room or the time to get into this, so we're giving it away tonight. And I will tell you that the other one is in the pile as well. The other one is on Borodino and Leipzig. And this is the second of the two boxes. So our hashtag for this, folks, is hashtag Waterloo. So Chris Muller's Napoleon's Eagles Volume 2, The 100 Days. It's got all four battles in it: Quatre Bras, Ligny, Wavre, and Waterloo. And it is a card game. It is a Napoleonic card game that looks pretty cool. So if that appeals to you and you are super into the period and you want a light Napoleonic game that you can play alongside while you're waiting for the other person to go in La Bataille, then look into this one. It looks great. So, all right, we've got some focus problems here again, folks. I'll show you my horrifically gnawed upon cuticles here. Let's see. All right, we got it back now. So hashtag Waterloo, folks. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll let this go for a couple of minutes while I find something else in the chat to yap about. I did like. I don't want to talk about Star Wars anymore. You know what? They don't want to do well. They'd had to recast the main participants, and probably some other people too to do that. But okay. No, I have a lot of. I think you have to have a lot of respect for the original movie as well, and I think familiarity has bred a little bit of contempt. I'm doing it. I said I wasn't going to do, which is talk about Star Wars some more. I think you have to give a lot of respect to the original film and the tremendous job of world building that movie does. It gives you a sense of a lived-in universe, and that is one of the things that both Rogue One did and Andor did, and the sequels and prequels absolutely failed to do. You'll never see anybody like picking up a fucking stapler in any of those, for example, because there's no stapler. They're in costume, they have a costume, and they're surrounded by blue screen or green screen or whatever it is, or the volume, right? Nobody ever interacts with the environment in the original, and even in Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. You like saw people interact with the environment. You have better presentation of a real lived-in place that your film is set in stage plays, frankly. So I think there's a lot to admire about the original Star Wars. I refuse to call it A New Hope unless I absolutely have to. All right. Oh, still currently playing Quatre Bras. I think we talked about this already. Yes, this is true. As Perigi points out, this is Chris Muller, who also designed Burning Banners and Brothers in Arms, I think it's called, is another series there. Thunderbolt should be shipping soonish. If they charged like last week, and I usually it's about 6 weeks before it actually like shows up at my door. So, and I don't care to babysit on top of GMT about this. So I didn't hate the two lightsaber duels in Obi-Wan Kenobi are okay. Casimir might be talking about the Alec Guinness though in the original too. Sabacc, I think, is some kind of card game or something like that, or gambling game, something like that. I don't know. When it comes out, if it comes out, I will be curious about it. But as of this time, I have zero enthusiasm to expend on an animated Firefly. Yeah, my expectations for, speaking of Sky High, my expectations for Thunderbolt are very high. Well, maybe, but if so, good job, George, and George's whole team. Right? Movies, we like to credit the director as like the guiding vision behind the whole thing, or for TV, the showrunner. But there's like a huge amount of people that have to be involved to make these complicated productions, and for it to really be top tier, all those things have to be on. And for the original trilogy, I would argue that at least the first two films, everything was on. In the third film, some of the things started to turn off. And in the prequels, more of the things turned off. And in the sequels, all of the things were turned off. Or damn close to all the things. It's like I predicted when they announced The Force Awakens that the big bad was going to be a fleet of Death Stars, and they managed to out-stupid that expectation. So, all right, H164, yes, but this might be true. I'm just not counting on getting it for about 6 weeks because that's my usual experience. So that's not the day when they start shipping. That's the time at which I will begin to expect it. So, Marty's picking Thunderbolt up at GMT East. You're a punk. A lot of people have spoken glowingly of Brothers at War. All right, we're gonna do the draw. Last call on Napoleon's Eagles, the 100 Days here. Last call. I will push the button in just a moment. I'll do a little bit more catching up. Yeah, I'm not saying it sounds bad, but I'm just my enthusiasm isn't there for it. Oh, this has to get fixed. Starvo Sleem, thanks for stopping by. So, well, I understand this. I mean, I said no to a big traveler Kickstarter. All right, we're hitting the button here, folks. Oh, Marty will be at Stack too. I wish I had this kind of time. All right, we're hitting the draw button here. And once again, if you're in the U.S., I will just ship it to you. If you are not in the U.S., then I will seek a handoff if certain people. Jacob Guernsey, awesome. Jacob, speaking of Jacob, yes, I have to get your interview edited and posted. It is a open task that I have to complete. So, Jacob, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations for winning this fine-looking game that I am not going to get the time to play, and I will get your interview posted this week. You folks who are big fans of either the American Revolution or Great Campaigns of the American Civil War will want to watch the video with Jacob. So I'm a little surprised that I knew that. I never got really into. I read the first Zahn trilogy, but and that was pretty good, but I didn't really get that far into any of the novels or anything like that. All right, so let's pull this down and go back here, and then the next we'll do it this way. God damn it! I keep hitting the wrong button and having to put all this information in again. Yeah. Okay. So the next one, we might as well put it up. I'm way behind on this already. All right. So the next one is we're going to have 2 traveler pieces in a row, but the other one is something different and much more interesting. Well, that's unfair. I shouldn't have said it that way. It's in a lot of ways it is. So this is a second copy of Last Flight of the Amuar for Mongoose Traveler 2nd edition. I put it in, has #flight this time, so put this in if you want to check out this adventure. It is 56 pages, full color in here, folks. A lot of deck plans, a lot of worlds, all kinds of cool stuff in here that you could use even if you think the adventure stinks, and I'm not saying that it does. So copy number 2 of A Reach Adventure 2. This is set in the Trojan Reach, which is the sector that is the home of the Pirates of Drenax campaign, which is, I think, one of the greatest campaigns of all time. So we'll give this a couple of minutes as well. Do remember, you can only win one thing tonight, folks, and I have kind of stacked it up in such a way that that stuff is last. So we'll do that next. All right, so let's see here. I would think that they do. I don't know. Excellent. Mark is going to be at JMT East on Friday and Saturday with Army of the Potomac, which is fantastic. Folks, if you're going to be there, take the opportunity to play it with Mark. All right. I have a less problem with the Ewoks than I do with the with I feel like the really I think there are other plot. I think there are plot problems with Empire, with Return of the Jedi, over and above whatever issues you may have had with the Ewoks. I don't really have a huge problem with the Ewoks. Oh, okay. So no open sales at GMT East, but Andy did send an email to attendees if they want to order stuff or pick up stuff they had pre-ordered. Okay, so that's the deal with that. Okay. No, I did like those scenes. I liked both of the duels in that. Emotional high point, I don't know. I feel like to some extent it was repairing the horrifically terrible job they did with this at the end of Revenge of the Sith. So all right, we're trying to get caught up here. Ah, interesting. Jeff says that Last Flight of the Amuar is a sort of sequel to classic Traveler's Leviathan. Yeah, I guess I can get that. The second Death Star wasn't pretty. It was not pretty lazy. I'm going to disagree with Kyle here. I'm going to say it wasn't pretty lazy. It was fucking lazy. And they have not done better. And it annoys me. Well, and again, I don't have that big of a beef with just the Ewoks. I know people think that that's one of the weak points of the movie. I really think it's maybe, but I think it's a really minor weak point compared to the story and writing problems that we have elsewhere in that film. So, yeah, that's true too. It's like it's hard to get in and feel the impact of that emotional scene that is only necessary because the episode 3 was a hot buttered turd. And the rest of this series is filled with bullshit fan service. I don't mind the fan service occasionally, or if it's subtle. When the story becomes about the fan service, then it's problematic. And so much of the recent Disney stuff, didn't see The Acolyte. Everybody, it was widely panned. I don't know if that was review bombing or what. So. Then, given that I didn't even make it through Ahsoka, I think, oh, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I'm good. Starkiller Base? Yeah, Starkiller Base. Absolutely. Yes, Carl. Right on. Yes, absolutely correct. Starkiller Base was just, it's a super Death Star now that can magically fucking death ray planets into evaporation from across the galaxy. It's stupid. It breaks the rules of the universe. It breaks the tone of the universe. It is a terrible creative decision on every level. Even stupider than the second Death Star. That was just lazy. So, and then in the last one, then like it's a spree of Star Destroyers, but they all have planet busting super lasers on them, and it's even stupider than any of the other stuff. So anyway. All right, so it is time. Let's do the Noble Knight ad. Thank you, Danny, for reminding me about that. I tell you what, let's do this first. Let's give this away. So no last call on this, folks, but it is the second one, to be fair. So let's see who wins this giveaway. Number 4, correct. Jeff Beeler has won. Jeff, congratulations. Has one Last Flight of the Amuar. Do you have this already? If so, you shouldn't have put in for it. Too bad, I'm sending it to you. So once again, make sure I have your address. I probably do. But all right, so now We'll pull this down. We will show the ad for our good friends at Noble Knight right on 9 p.m., which is exactly what's supposed to happen. And has anybody screwed Twitch up yet? I don't think so. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, which is great when it happens. All right, so here's a little spot from our good friends at Noble Knight Games. There's an affiliate link in the video description. If you would use it to buy stuff from Noble Knight Games, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Here at Noble Knight Games, we've been carefully growing the world's largest selection of board games, role-playing games and dice, war games, miniatures and paints, card games, and more. Going on 25 years now. Our rustic castle contains more game and hobby goodness than you can shake a stick at. Complete with careful packaging and the finest customer service the land can provide. You can buy, sell, trade from anywhere in the world, just like nature intended. Noble Knight Games.
I'll note that I blitzed through all the counters I wanted to clip, but big thanks to our good friends at Noble Knight Games. It really is a good place to buy games. I'm going to talk now as I put up the next giveaway. So the next giveaway is the first volume in the Napoleon's Eagles series. This is Storm in the East, Battles of Leipzig and Borodino. So the hashtag for this, folks, is hashtag Borodino. Once again, boxed games. In this case, the cards have been removed from their cellophane packages, and any useless box inserts have been discarded, but everything else should be in here. So, and no, it has not been played. I've merely perused it. It looks cool. So I'm going to talk, because this came up on the Discord, and it was all very cordial and no one is in trouble, but I wanted to mention it because there were some things said about prices at Noble Knight, and it leads me to want to respond to the question of, do I think the prices at Noble Knight are too high? And the answer to that question is, on some items, yes, it is too high because it is more than I am willing to pay. On some other items, I think the prices are extremely reasonable, and Noble Knight has sales all the time. And if there is a problem, they will fix it. Their customer service is absolutely extraordinary, and they are just good people there. We, in our capitalist society, it annoys me sometimes when I think about it this way, because we'll say this price is too high, therefore I am oppressed. And that's nonsense. You have agency as a consumer in a capitalist society. Jeff Beeler, thanks so much for the support. It is much appreciated. You, as a consumer in a capitalist society, have agency. You should embrace the agency that you have. You have the power to decide how much you are willing to spend for a given product. Sometimes that number will be too much. Sometimes it will be a tremendous bargain, and I'm thrilled, wherever it is, at Noble Knight or whatever. So when we say, oh my God, that looks super duper expensive at Noble Knight or anywhere else, but then it sells like the same day, well, apparently it wasn't too much. It wasn't too much for the person that bought it. It might have been too much for me or you or whoever. So I just feel like this is kind of the adult way to look at this stuff. We are talking about luxury goods, let's face it. So yeah, exactly. Sometimes they will be too high, and sometimes things will sit around forever and the price will go down because that was too high. So all right. So Brant, thanks for stopping by on Twitch. Much appreciated. And I'm pretty sure they're I mean, we didn't talk about that, but with Noble Knight, but I'm pretty sure they are tracking this. They're checking turnover, and they say, hey, if this comes in and it sells for $250 within 24 hours, then yeah, it's probably going to be $260 next time. I mean, they're a business. They're not a soup kitchen, right? So selection and the selection is incredible, but also for the customer service, in the sense that you can rely on the fact that sometimes I've paid $150 more for something from Noble Knight because I knew that it's rare, it's super hard to get, and if there's a problem, they will fix it. So anyway, that's my position on that. I have no compunctions or moral qualms about, or ethical concerns about shopping with Noble Knight or encouraging other people to do so. And yes, they are a sponsor. I am not an objective observer here. But you know that hey, Gary likes Noble Knight. That's why he said yes to the sponsorship. If it had been one of those meal plan things, I just blocked those people. So, but when Noble Knight reached out to me, I was like, yeah, no problem. So anyway. All right. And I keep Case Blue on my Noble Knight wish list just to kind of keep an eye on what the prices are, too. So Danny points out he thinks that the Poland game for 214 is a steal from VUCA. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's expensive, but I still want it. So I might be willing to shed 214 at some point where I had it. Now, the Traveler 5e thing has other things going on. It is not solely about the price, but frankly, the price is kind of the biggest thing, to be honest. And let's face it, there's plenty of other places to buy games. If you want to be patient, you will get the game you want at a price, at a good price. It might not be as cheap as you'd like it to be, but you'll get it at a good price if you keep your eyes open and you're willing to wait long enough. That has happened with me repeatedly, and that's how I bought a copy of War Between the States in the soapbox, mostly unpunched, for like $18. So, and that wasn't even that long ago. So. All right. So anyway, let's last call on Borodino here, and also I've been in the market of selling my games to stores and other people and all that stuff. If you want to sell games, you will make more if you sell them individually yourself. You will also have to package and ship those games. If you want to dump a huge quantity of stuff, and I have seen. Noble Knight, I think, gives as good as anybody I've seen for a game store. They're a little more than a game store at this point. They're kind of their own industry. Noble Knight gives you as good or better as anybody else that I've seen, to be honest. If you take your product, you take your Case Blue up to half price books, man, they'll give you $1 for it. So, I mean, I don't think anybody's quite that stupid, but sometimes I'm disappointed in humanity. So. They do sell other things than games. Yeah, I've had a couple of issues with Noble Knight, and I call them and they answer the phone and they're pleasant to deal with, and I'm not an asshole to them, and they fix my problem. It's very easy. It's very smooth. Whether that fix is a refund or, hey, we'll check, we'll call you back. They check on the parts shelf and they've got the replacement thing that was missing, and they send me that. I mean, they'll figure it out. So anyway. That's my extended Noble Knight happy customer talk for this evening. Let's hit the draw button for Napoleon's Eagles Volume 1, Borodino and Leipzig. Those are two really fascinating battles, by the way. So once again, DJJ0520. Let me write this down. Congratulations. 0520. Your instruct. Everybody else has so far has known how to get in touch with me. There's an email address in the video description. Please send me your mailing address and proper mailing address name, and I will get this out to you as quickly as possible. And in the meantime, I will pull this down and fix this for the next giveaway, which is another Traveler item, and I think it is a particularly interesting one. All right, let's see what we got here. So, I mean, well, again, I feel like I've said everything that I need to say about that. If I say anything else, I think I'm just going to belabor the point. And I have been, I've taken stuff to Noble Knight and sold stuff to Noble Knight too, and been pleased with what they gave me for it. So anyway. All right, so moving on. I am super, super duper excited about a couple of things that are coming out, and several of them have already been mentioned this evening. I am excited about Three Dog Deluxe, but I'm kind of more interested. That's going to go right on. It's going to get looked at. I'll do an unboxing video. It's going to go on the shelf for a while because I'm not going to have time to get to it at the moment. Super excited about Thunderbolt, however, and that may get played or set up and hopefully kind of quickly. Also super excited about in Forest to Heaven, which is coming. There's also that Sicily game from some Italian publisher. I forget who's making that. That looks super interesting too, but I'm not sure when that's coming out. But I've been waiting for Thunderbolt for like over 20 years now. So, well, I've heard, somebody somebody who might be here tonight. I haven't seen him tonight, actually. Somebody who might be here tonight might have gotten a copy of Case Blue, not in the shrink wrap, admittedly, and probably punched, but in exchange for some handiwork that took less than an hour. So, excellent. I really enjoyed, it's got every game, whatever it is a model of its topic, whether we would like that to be the case or not, right? And this includes even like story game RPG type games. They too are models, but they are modeling story structure rather than the imagined physics of an imaginary setting. In the case of war games, the setting is historical, and the designer is nevertheless building a model of it. They are, in some cases, based on time-tested ideas and mechanics, and in some cases, they come up with something completely new, and it's incredible when that has happened. Thank you, Mark Herman, for doing that multiple times over the course of your long and storied wargame designer career. So there he is. The legend himself is in the house. Also really excited about First Man in Rome. I love the title too. Brand says that's Dissimula Edizioni, an Italian publisher. Very interested in seeing that. Maybe I should reach out to those folks actually and try and get them on an interview show. Oh yeah, this is Eric Schaefer. This is what's the series called? I forget what the series is called, but the first game was The Fate of All, about Romans, about Greeks versus Persians, and the next one is called The First Man in Rome. It is about, I believe, Romans versus Romans. In the original inspiration, The Conquerors, I think it was Romans versus Carthaginians. I could look at that, but all right. In any case, 189 people watching here, folks. Don't forget to thumbs up the video and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, we're going to do more. Caesar versus the Optimates. Yeah, that's exciting. That's going to be good. If The Fate of All is anything to go by, and I think it is. As I have pointed out 1,000 times by now, Operational Ancients is not a very fertile field. If somebody's going to do Operational Ancients, I'm going to friggin' want it. And this is another example. Thunderbolt is another example as well. Because I really do. I would assume that it does not, actually, considering that if it's Caesar, if it's the Caesar War, if it's the Civil Wars, Sulla's gone by then. Well, you know what I'm saying. Caesar Civil War versus Pompey. That's what we're talking about here. And Sulla's gone by then. All right. Yes, I hate this too. Thank you, YouTube, for not doing a very good job at this. All right, so we're going to do another giveaway here, folks. Today's giveaway, or I should say, whatever giveaway number we're on. This is in its original packaging. It's this very cellophane bubble wrap. And yes, there is some sun damage to the cover, but this is like published in the 70s. This is Simba Safari from Judges Guild, the original edition. I will warn you that the quality of the paper is approximately that of your daily newspaper, but it is nevertheless a pretty cool collector's piece for Traveler. Hashtag Safari to win Simba Safari. I've got 3 of these, so I don't need this extra one. And yes, mine is in the original cellophane too. I have two sealed ones and an open one, and I'm giving away one of the sealed ones. Let me put it that way. But some of this old Judges Guild stuff. Judges Guild was really important in the history of role-playing games because they showed publishers, not just other publishers, but TSR too, of how these games that had just been invented, at least for commercial purposes, could be supported. The influence of Judges Guild and the impact that they had should not be underestimated, because it goes well above and beyond the quality of necessarily every single product. And they did do some really good products. They also did some stuff that, in my opinion, is not very good. But for all the games that they supported, and they supported D&D, most famously, they did quite a lot of stuff for Traveler, and I don't even have it all. They did at least a couple of adventures for Rune Quest. They did, I think they did at least one Dragon Quest adventure too. So they supported a lot of different games that were around in that 1979, 1980, 1981 period. So I was a bigger fan, I gotta tell you, I was a bigger fan of the Wilderness of Hyatt, whatever the wilderness was, in the Wilderness of whatever the Wilderness one was, more so than City State. City State came first, but I thought the Wilderness thing was more interesting, if in my opinion. So, and yeah, I mean, TSR thought, oh, well, people are obviously going to want to make their own adventures. And everybody thought, GDW thought that with Traveler too. And they were wrong. People would totally buy adventures. Well, sometimes those were good adventures. Wilderlands of High Fantasy. Thank you, Brand. There is a D&D 3rd edition, exactly when in the 3rd edition timeline it showed up. That was done, I think, by Necromancer Games, for D&D 3.5 or 3.0, and it was a nice package too. The only complaint I would have about it is that it's a big box set. It goes for a pile of money now. I do not have it. I did have it. I got rid of it. I'm an idiot. Apple Lane was Chaosium though. That was Chaosium. It wasn't, Apple Lane was not from them. And how do I know that? Because when I'll pull it off the shelf. Shit. I guess I'll pull all these off. There's a Rune Quest item that's coming up next here, folks. So probably 5 years ago now, I was just looking around. I was doing some research, and I said, I need a copy of Rune Quest First Edition. But fortunately, Chaosium sells a print-on-demand copy of that, and this is my perfectly nice reprint of Rune Quest First Edition from Chaosium. Sometime later, 6 months later, perhaps, I encountered this on eBay. This is Rune Quest First Edition. This was like $1.90 on eBay for some reason. And then when it showed up, it had Apple Lane with it. So there we are. I don't think Apple Lane is a particularly good or interesting adventure, to be completely honest. All right, folks, we're going to give away Simba Safari for Traveler. So last call on this vintage 45-year, close to 50-year-old product from Judges Guild here for Traveler. So if you're a Traveler collector, Simba Safari is something that you want. What do we have left? First of all, let's get that out of the way. Well, we'll do all that in a minute. All right, so we're going to draw for Simba Safari here, folks. Remember that if you win, I will cover the shipping. If you are in the US, if you are not, I will ask you to split shipping with me. Please send me, whoever the winner is, please send it. Ooh, Michael Corey. So congratulations to Michael Corey, who has won this 46.5, something like that, year-old Traveler adventure from Judges Guild. Please get in touch with me by email. My email address is ardwulfslair@gmail.com. It is in the ticker below. So congrats on that. Let me pull this down and I will set up for the next one. The problem is you have to, the tool for this is set up. The tool for this is set up to, like, so you could pick which stream is getting the giveaway, and I have to go and do that every time, and it's kind of annoying. All right, Muzzle Paint, thanks for stopping by as well. I am older than any of the product I'm giving away this evening, I can tell you that. It would be more demographically noteworthy, because I look at the metrics, I look at the analytics sometimes. It would be more noteworthy if you were younger than the product, because I'm aware that my audience is leans into Gen X pretty much. So anyway, and I can do polls in StreamYard now. It's kind of awkward. I'm probably more inclined to do it on the Chit Show than I am here, because then I can set it up while Dan's saying something insane. So, all right, what else do we have here to talk about? Yes, well, I have I've got eons of this, man. I was like selling games to get more different game, selling game stuff to get more different game stuff, and a lot of the things that I got rid of were things that are valuable now or hard to get, like the Deities and Demigods with Cthulhu, which I loaned out and never got back. That was an actual mishap on my part, or perhaps a poor judgment of character. So we never got that back, but nevertheless, and I've got that on a Noble Knight wish list too, and someday I'll buy it. It goes for a couple $100, even though they printed tens of thousands of them over, I think 2, maybe 3 printings. I'm not going to look that up right now. So all right, yeah, Legendary Duck Tower, that's true. So for those who aren't in on the joke here, one of the next giveaway here, folks, let's set it up right now. This is the core rule book for what we call Mongoose Rune Quest 2nd edition. This is the origins of the Mythros and or Rune Quest 6th edition system. Unlike the original Mongoose edition of Rune Quest, which I did not like, because I felt like it took way too much out in the core books and you had to buy a bunch of supplements. This is considerably better in that respect, and I do think that this edition of the Mongoose Rune Quest is worth playing. This is the hardcover. I have 2 of these somehow. It's not a mystery. I know where I got the second one from. Thank you, John Madison, for selling me a bunch of RuneQuest 2 stuff, but I had a rulebook already. It's in this pretty nice faux leatherette type cover, and we're giving this guy away too. And the hashtag for this is hashtag RuneQuest. So RuneQuest 2nd edition from Mongoose Publishing. There is a bunch of support material for this and for the previous Mongoose edition. I have several of those products as a big fan of RuneQuest, more so as its utility as a general fantasy RPG system than for Glorantha as such. So it's one of my favorite games. It's one of my what I have been referring to for organizational purposes. I had to come up with a name for this. Is my A-list RPGs, and there are a couple that are there due to being grandfathered in, but RuneQuest is in that list. RuneQuest Traveler, RuneQuest, what are the games? RuneQuest Traveler, Ars Magica, Harnmaster is included in that. Mythros, which is my chosen edition of RuneQuest, it gets its own spot in the list, and therefore so do Pendragon and at least one other BRP derived thing, Delta Green, the current edition of Delta Green. Also, Call of Cthulhu gets its own spot in the list. Against the Dark Master is my preferred sort of role master style game at this point, even though I haven't played that in a while either. But if I was going to run that kind of game, that is the one I would probably run. Mongoose published 2 editions of RuneQuest. I have... I can say this about Traveler 2 now, but I won't be able to once Traveler 5th edition, that 5e thing comes out. I have all the different versions of RuneQuest, the core rules. I've got the Avalon Hill version. I've got the first 2. And in some cases, it's like a POD reprint, but I don't care. That's fine. And I've got the later ones as well. So not a big fan of the first Mongoose edition, but the second Mongoose edition is a huge improvement, in my opinion. So, Patty Rafesky, thanks for saying this is better than Bingo Night. I hope so. I am aware that some people don't consider Pendragon BRP, but they are frankly wrong. It is identical to BRP in every respect from a foundational mechanical perspective, except that instead of rolling percentile, it's a D20 and it's 5% increments. That's the only difference. It's still the exact same game system. So if you want to call it BRP related, okay, but it's, or BRP adjacent. It's more than adjacent, though. It's the same game. Changing one die roll in the game and having it work exactly the same way does not make it a different system. So anyway, just catching up on the chat. All right, let's do this. What are the other ones? Did I miss one? Ars Magica. I'm not sure if I said that. And Pathfinder, specifically. Although Pathfinder might be getting demotion soon. We'll see how that works out. There's a local buddy of mine's talking about running Castles and Crusades, and if that turns out to be kind of the my preferred flavor of D&D, if that actually happens, and if I play, then that'd be cool. So, oh, nice, yeah. Pendragon's a really brilliant game. So Stormbringer is another. Let me get to this question in a minute. First of all, last call on the Rune Quest 2nd edition book. I'm going to hit this in about a minute. So Stormbringer was the licensed Chaosium game with the Ulrich of Menivene setting. And it's a really cool game. I had the first edition, and then there was like one of the later editions in the Perfect Bound that I had that I thought was a really serviceable general sword and sorcery flavored system. I'm not really super interested in, I love those stories, but I'm not really super interested in playing in somebody else's setting. I think for me, one of the, joys of RPGs is playing in your own setting. Now, as a player, I'm a little more flexible about that. So, all right. And I've had I got to do video on this actually, because we had some freaking legendary Ars Magica campaigns. So hashtag Rune Quest. We are drawing right now. Once again, folks, if you win, you got to get in touch with me by email. Email address is in the ticker. And I need some water, damn it. A134ZWA. Please, congratulations. A134 ZWA. Please send me an email. If you're in the US, I will cover shipping. If you are not, I will ask you to split shipping with me, but it's a pretty cool prize. So there are 3 more giveaway items, folks, and I am going to change the intended order just a little bit. Let me pull this down and do the bookkeeping on this. All right. So it's a great game. So congratulations. And like I said, get a hold of me and send me your shipping address and proper shipping name, and I will get it out to you. If you're in the US, I will cover shipping. If not, I will split it with you 50-50. All right. Then what's the time at? We've got about half an hour. I got 2. Okay, let's do this one, and then I'll yab for a bit. So the next giveaway is our last RPG item of the evening. This is another Traveler adventure from Mongoose Traveler 2nd edition, but this is Last Call at Aneries Casino. And it takes place in the core sector, which is the heart of the Third Imperium. If you're not aware of it already, there is an outstanding Traveler podcast called Signals from the Core that's available wherever you get your podcasts. And I think there have been 6 episodes so far, and they have all been absolutely outstanding. It is basically for the original universe, but there is nevertheless some things that you can use onto the podcast that are usable in any Traveler campaign. And this adventure in particular is set in the core. Once again, it is a 48-page adventure in this case. This is written by Christopher Griffin, who is also the author of the Singularity campaign that has recently gone to the printers. So I'm looking forward to getting onto that. I have read the material. I haven't read Act 3 yet. That's kind of where I just haven't gotten to it. So this is going to be hashtag Cantina. Last call at Aneries Cantina, set in the core Traveler core sector for, once again, Mongoose Traveler 2nd edition. And you've got, NPCs in here and gear, and there's some new ships. Here's a new shuttle, for example. So tons of cool stuff for Traveler here at Aneries Cantina. So hashtag Cantina to win that. There's 2 more things to give away next. And they're both issues of C3I magazine. So we'll just say that. So yeah, I have a bad habit of not keeping my lists up to date on this stuff, and end up buying it again. So that's why I had 3 copies of Amuar and 2 copies of this, and I think there's a couple other ones that I've already gotten rid of. So, all right, Alternity, please. Even Star Frontiers had more character than Alternity did. And that's kind of my big problem with Paizo's Starfinder 2. From a mechanical standpoint, I actually do like the Pathfinder 2nd Edition rule set a lot. And I've recently come to the realization. So about a year ago, I was talking about a Pathfinder campaign, and I did a bunch of setting design and campaign work and stuff like that. And then ran into issues when I began trying to fit it into what Pathfinder can do or is designed to do, not because of the mechanics of the game as much as all of the built-in setting that it gives you. I found very few creatures that I wanted to use because there's a lot of classic creatures that I didn't get stats for. There were common creatures like goblins and stuff that I did want to use, and Pathfinder's implementation is perfectly fine, but the structure of the rules is such that I would have needed to build a ton of different goblin templates to make that work, and I didn't feel like doing that. So we're going to either try a looser approach with a different system, or if we're going to build the game, then I will use Mythros, which is my preferred generic fantasy flavor of the Rune Quest rules at this time. So hashtag Cantina, folks, last call, and we've got about half an hour here. We are going 2 hours tonight, by the way. I have also noticed that the demand for Pathfinder, or I shouldn't say it that way, that the availability of Pathfinder product in the game stores that I physically frequent from time to time has gone down, and that does include, in this sense, Barnes and Noble. There is a Pathfinder Society group that runs here in Akron. I think they play downtown Akron, that is. And I think there's another one that happens in the Cleveland area up at Immortals Inc., which does have a decent amount of Pathfinder stuff. In fact, in general, I would say that of the game stores in the area, my immediate area, which is, at Cleveland, Akron, Canton, my metro area, let me put it that way. I have not visited them all. The one who has the best selection of RPG stuff, and it isn't close, is Immortals Inc. in, I think, Fairview Park, Ohio. It might be Westlake. In terms of war games, it's the Warzone. It's the Warzone. And the Warzone has a lot of RPG stuff, but I mean, it's kind of in its own category. I mean, if you would like to go into a game store and not be frightened at the risk of death because a shelf, an entire row of games might collapse on you. So they do have a lot of stuff, but if you want a nice store that's well organized, go to Immortals Inc. So, or if you're in Wisconsin, go to Noble Knight. Their selection is amazing, but they're not local, unfortunately for me. So if they were local, I would be broke. I am broke, but who am I kidding? All right, so Brent says he has no specific info, but he thinks a lot more Pathfinder inventory is tied up in the... This is true, though. So a lot of those places were getting their stuff through Diamond, and it could all be locked up. So there's that thing. Full Grip. I have driven past Full Grip games at least 5 times and have never stopped in. I have been in the last year or so, I have been in Underhills, which is in Cuyahoga Falls. Used to be a pretty good game store, now has basically no product. They have like hardly any role-playing stuff. I don't know what they're selling. They have a lot of floor space. It's all empty, so don't have anything about that. And Pathfinder does do a lot with their subscription sales and things like that. So based on retail brick and mortar availability, I don't know that I would necessarily draw a ton of conclusions. Jeff mentions Meeple Mart in Toronto. All right, so we're gonna give away Aneries Cantina here, folks. We're going to hit the button. Once again, you have to email me in order to get the prize. So email me with your shipping information, whoever wins. Why did you put in for this, bucko? GOT17K. Awesome. So give me 17K for Aneries Cantina. I do generally tend to like the adventures, but that doesn't necessarily mean I intend to run them as written. I will make them work in my own thing. All right, so congratulations to GOT for winning, and let's set the next one up here. This is going to be number... We'll do it that way. All right. A good game store will still be carrying these products because they are working with games distributors and not Diamond, the comics distributor. So... yeah, they were highly dependent on that, actually. Well, I don't, dependent might be too strong a word. But Paizo has talked about this, so go look at what they have said about it. I have nothing meaningful to add or any, nor do I have any particular news. I haven't heard anything new about this in at least months. So Mike Reed says that his high school years, white box trade, oh, that's worth so much money now. Although it was kept in print for a very long time, so it's not like a white copy of white box D&D is necessarily that rare. There were at least 9 printings of that, and there might have been as many as 15 on some of that stuff. So again, go to the achaeum.com to get the details on all of that. But it's still worth a decent chunk of change. It's not necessarily worth like the 15 grand that a wood grain box will get you. So I believe Noble Knight does have a wood grain box D&D. There will not be a campaign by me to buy to help fund a copy of wood grain original D&D. I think as a game system, as a product, I mean, I understand that it's a valuable collector's item. Cool. If I was in the market for a valuable collector's item that I have no interest in as a player, designer, referee, game master, in any sense, there are other things I would run down first than white box D&D. I've never had any interest in owning a copy. I think as a game that you buy and then expect to be able to open its packaging, peruse the materials, and actually play or run, I think OD&D did an absolutely miserable job. I think it is one of the worst explained RPG rules ever. Because and the reason is obvious. This isn't like I'm complaining because they did a terrible job. The reason it's like that is they were still figuring it out when this stuff got written down. So that's why it's like that. But I don't really consider it a particularly worthwhile game system or like product to have. Personally, that's me. Other people are free to feel differently about it. All right. So the next giveaway, folks, is going to be C3I Magazine, issue number 33. This is courtesy of Joanne Roberts, who was kind enough to give me to send me several copies of C3I. They are duplicates for me, but this is complete. It's all here in the baggie. R.I.P. Roger, we will miss you. But C3I number 33. This contains Mark Herman's Waterloo campaign, which is the game that showed me that this system is cool and works. I didn't get that out of the original Gettysburg, but Waterloo did, because it's kind of operational, right? It's kind of showing you the campaign, and I feel like this system worked for that. It works. Actually sit down and play this system. I don't care whether it's this or Gettysburg or Rebel Fury or Army of the Potomac or whatever. Actually sit down and play this game system with an opponent, and you'll see it. You might not like it, but you'll see what it's doing. I would encourage people to do that. Anyway, C3I number 33. And this one we should get some better entries for. The next one, folks, just so you know, I want to give full visibility on this, is C3I number 34. So this is the final giveaway of tonight's celebration of 10,000 subscribers here at Ardwulf's Lair, which reminds me to say, if you haven't liked the video yet, we've got a lot of people here. Please do like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And I know that some of you are not subscribed. It really doesn't mean that much. That you're here is more important than subscribing. But still, if you can, subscribe. If you're not signed into YouTube and you don't want to, I kind of get that. I think I need just a tiny bit more scotch, because I haven't had any of this lovely Bowmore 15 in quite a while. Just a little bit, though, since I would like to not feel like hot buttered ass in the morning. It's a biochemistry thing. There's some people whose bodies process alcohol in terms of like recovering the body from ingesting it a lot better than other people. And I am one of those people whose body does not recover from ingesting alcohol very often. And that's one of the reasons why I drink the way I do, which is roughly weekly and usually one or two of these, maybe sometimes two. So, all right. Mike Reed, the libation I just said is Bowmore 15. It is from Bowmore is a distillery on the island of Islay off the west coast of Scotland, known for its peated scotch. And I have tried like Bowmore Legend, which is their like low end undated thing or no age statement stuff. I've had a Bowmore, I think 10 that I also didn't think much of. It had a weird wang that I didn't like and that never went away, no matter how much I watered it down. In the case of the Bowmore 15, it's still got that flavor, but it doesn't have that off note. And I tried this when we were out in Seattle. I think it was Seattle. And I really liked it. And of course, can you get it in Ohio? Nope, you cannot. So I had, where did this come from? I think Fucko obtained this for me, actually, when he went to Chicago or someplace like that. So thank you for this bottle. It is. So I will point out, well, we'll have a short, no one likes a weird wang. Yeah, that's exactly right. Those who remember where that's actually a quote. So anyway, short digression about whiskey. A lot of people associate that smokiness or peatiness or medicinal character that Scotch has with Scotch. Not all Scotches are like that. I would encourage you to try Macallan, the standard Macallan 12 aged in sherry oak. That's the one I'm talking about. It's reasonably expensive, but it doesn't taste like that. It does not have those medicinal notes. As far as I can tell, it's not peated at all. There are other examples of scotches that aren't peated at all and don't taste like peat. So not everybody likes that. I have known multiple more serious whiskey drinkers than myself who will not touch a peated scotch because it tastes like iodine to them. And it does taste like iodine, but I like that. So Malort. Oh, I have never tried Malort. I've talked about this. Malort is this infamous beverage of Chicago that's supposed to be absolutely horrific. And I've never tried it, even though the people we would camp with when we did this stuff a lot of them were from Chicago. Oh, Mike Reed got it. The Hollywood Nights does have a little wang in it. Excellent. Lawrence of Arabia. Oh, that's kind of that was a formative movie for me for some reason. All right, let's give away C3I number 33, including Mark Herman's Waterloo, plus a bunch of other stuff in here. There's stuff for Pericles. There's stuff. There's article, of course, a bunch of articles. There's new landing locations for Holland 44. Some stuff for Fields of Fire. And I'm not sure if there's a second game in this or not. Plus some stuff from Campaigns of 1777. The very nice game by Harold Buchanan that came out in S&T, actually. So let's give this guy away. Once again, you'll split the cost with me if you're not in the United States. And if you are in the United States, then I will just ship it. Dale Brady, outstanding. Dale, please give me an email. Dale Brady is our winner for C3I issue number 33. So congrats to him. Reach out and get a hold of me, and I will get this out to you sometime this week. And I mean that sometime this week. I don't want this stuff sitting around. Some of this is here, folks, because I don't have room to store it anymore. So the next one, let me pull this down and do this work. There we go. All right, the last giveaway. We're at about 15 minutes, so I'm going to let this one run for a little bit, and we'll do it closer to the end. This is C3 ad number 34. It contains, again, unpunched. It just, here it is. Roger sent it to Joanne, and Joanne didn't have a use for it and sent it to me. So thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Roger. All right, Peter Roger. All right, so this issue contains Trevor Bender's Battle for Kursk, which is a pretty well-received game. And it looks, I know there's other stuff in here, but it doesn't say any of that on the cover of the magazine. And I'm not going to dig into it right now, folks. You could go to BGG. You've got time. The hashtag for this one is hashtag Kursk. So if you're interested in C3 number 34, complete with the game and/or games that were in it. I think I'm waffling here because I think there are like a couple of games in that one. So anyway, now that we said the word wang, everybody's acting up now. But hashtag Kursk for this. So I am hoping, by the way, folks, that there will be actual wargaming happening here in the physical Ardwulf's Lair facility. Hopefully sometime this week. It's sounding like that's going to be the Italian campaign from which I got to get back to somebody on too. I don't know if he's here tonight or not. Don't forget to thumbs up the video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, folks. So hopefully we'll get that done. We're both interested in the system. I want to see how it plays. It's punched, it's clipped, it's ready to, it's not set up yet. The map is set up, but the counters are not. So I'm going to try and get that done. I'd love to go to GMT East, but not this year. This year is flat out. Also, GMT East, as much as I'd like to go, and I've heard that it's a good event, it's not like a bucket list event for me. Tempe is kind of a bucket list event that I'd like to get to at some point. And had things been different and certain things not have occurred, I might be going this year. If I'm running on all cylinders, I may duck into the May Day festivities. Actually, playing probably not. I'm running 2 campaigns of Traveler. Right, it's kind of one campaign, but it's effectively 2 campaigns, and I'm running 2 of those right now. So I'm good. But for those who are not in the enviable position of participating in 2 different Traveler games right now, I would encourage you to stop into the Traveler May Day festivities. That is on May 1st, which is sort of the official celebration of Traveler Day. And I would encourage folks to do that. There'll be a lot of videos that come out of it. Cyborg Prime Productions are the folks who put it in. If you search for Traveler May Day, it should come up. So, and as Brant points out, start planning for Armchair Dragoons Fall Assembly, 9 to 11 October in Metropolitan Cary, North Carolina. Wow, I didn't even think of that. This is one of those shirts that's been sitting in a bag for years, and I finally washed it and got it out. So, Brant mocking the mods. Oh, Mike Reed's down to only 5 unpunched, unclipped titles. The wages of having the collection boxed up while the basement restoration is going on. That's good. That's good. That's good. One of the things that I need to get to, frankly, is again, reorganization of the war room. Not so much. I just kind of have to tidy up in here, and in the office here, not so much. I just have to tidy up in here. But the sitting area outside needs work quite badly. So well, again, I kind of hinted at this earlier in the show. I mean, I want to say thanks everybody for coming out every week. Whether you're here every week or not, or whether you watch after the show is live, just on the replay, or whether you're washing the dishes or folding laundry or whatever, when you listen to the show, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And again, I really appreciate the help that we're getting here through Patreon. I really appreciate the help that we're getting from Noble Knight right now. So I really appreciate the super chats and the super stickers and all the stuff that everybody does. People send me games sometimes, and I'm talking about people. I'm not talking about publishers necessarily. That does happen sometimes too. But I've said this plenty of times, but some people assume that we get all of our games for free because we're on YouTube. That is horseshit. That does not happen. I occasionally get free stuff. But I will say whether they provided it to me in whatever video comes out of that process. So, Enrique Romero, thank you so much for saying that and for coming out this evening. We'll be giving away C3I number 34, along with its included Game or Games in just a couple of minutes. So Perigi says the counter clipping show helped bring him into the hobby. That's fantastic. I don't know how that could have happened, but thank you. Yeah, I was doing pretty good in terms of ratio of games, but there was a period in there where, before we bought this house, there was a period in there when I had excess disposable income, and a lot of games got bought during that period. That's not the case right now, but that's one of the reasons why I don't even know how many war games I have at this point. Like I said, I've got to rebuild that database at some point. I have unfortunately let it go to seed, and now that database is garbage, and we have to redo it. So at some point we will do that. I am told that the Gamers Armory in Cary, North Carolina, is an outstanding game store in general and for war games in particular. We do not have a war game centric, and I'm not sure if that's a good an accurate way to phrase it for in the case of Gamers Armory, but we certainly don't have anything like a heavy RPG store or a heavy war game store in Akron. I haven't seen it. To get a good role-playing game store, go to Immortals Inc. For war games. The Guard Tower in Columbus, either location has a decent, a number of recent GMT releases, but that's about as good as you're going to get. Or you can travel to the Warrens of Death, otherwise known as the War Zone, just north of Cleveland Hopkins Airport. So, all right, we have just a few minutes left. So last call on Kursk, folks. Again, this is C3I number 34. It's unpunched. I haven't opened it because I have a copy of this, and it's as extra. So it is unpunched, untouched, unopened, in the baggie, direct from Roger himself. So C3I number 34. Whatever games come in this are in this Ziploc bag. And I blazed through all of the counters that I had in like the first little while here tonight. So counter clipping show. Yeah, Scott. Scott is also, I think, works with MMP as well. I think he is like the warehouse or operations manager or something along those lines. I don't remember his exact title. And he has designed some stuff too. So, and I've heard he's a good guy. I've never spoken to him or dealt with him. John Friesen, thank you so much. It is much appreciated. I, to some extent, am merely imparting the knowledge that was bestowed upon me by hundreds of hours sitting through Origins auctions, led in many cases by people who were involved in the game's design or playtesting or whatever. So thank you. Nice. John MC got some stuff from Cube for me come in. Scott's the office manager for MMP. So he comes highly recommended. I would also say, I'd like to be able to say support your local game store. And if you have a great local game store, you should. But none of the ones here. I'll go up to Immortals Inc. From time to time because they are a legitimately good local-ish game store. Unfortunately, it's not that close. It's if I go up there, it's like 3 hours front. There, shop around, talk to the owners and whoever's working there, and come home. It's 3 or 4 hours. So it's kind of a bigger deal than I'd like it to be, and I don't really have that many reasons to go up there for other reasons. So. But otherwise, I mean, most of us are doing our shopping online now. Most of us are buying most of our stuff online now. Is this contributing to the general difficulty of maintaining a brick and mortar game store? Yeah, it totally is. But the brick and mortar game stores don't provide what a lot of us consumers want. And for me, that is selection. That's the ability to buy games that aren't necessarily the most popular game in their space. Dale Brady, thank you so much for the support. It is much appreciated. And thanks for coming out tonight as well. Tabletop's Edge. Doug's been here for a while now tonight, and I haven't said anything, I don't think. So thanks for stopping by. He says if he doesn't pre-order from MMP, he gets it from Gamers Army. I will generally, unless there's a reason not to, I will generally pre-order the stuff that I really, 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 really want upon release. I will pre-order from the publisher. And frankly, who is that? That's the occasional Kickstarter or whatever, or other crowdfunding effort. But usually that's GMT, MMP, Decision Compass. I mean, those are most of the companies that I buy from. I do very much want to get into some of the stuff that I have from other publishers, including VUCA and including Europa Simulazione, for example. All right, so we're going to give away C3I number 34 Curse here tonight, folks. So I am going to push the button, and this is probably going to be pretty close to the end of the show. Dave from Wisconsin, outstanding. Dave, congratulations for being the winner of the final giveaway for our 10,000 subscribers. How amazing is that I have 10,000 people subscribing to me on YouTube? I have no idea how this has been accomplished. Dave, congratulations, and please reach out to me by email with your shipping information, and I will get this out to you sometime this week. So yeah, I have really no idea how this has occurred. I am aware that had I been a better steward of this channel for the last year or year and a half, that we would probably have hit this milestone a year ago, but hey, we didn't. And real life is really what it is. So what can I say? So I do have some plans. Oh, my wife does not listen to this show. I mean, I think sometimes she will do me the courtesy of popping in and hitting the like button, but she does not watch this show. My dad watches this show, which, hi, Dad, if you're watching. So I appreciate the well wishes, and I guess Harold Buchanan once called me you and other wargaming thought leaders, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is he even talking about? Thought leaders? I've never thought of myself as a thought leader of any kind. So Vince Reedy, thanks so much. Much appreciated for the support and continued support, and thanks so much. So yeah. I mean, hell, I could hit well in wargaming, and let's face it, most of my content is wargaming content. The vast majority of my content at this point, after 15 plus years, however long it's been, of doing this, is wargaming content. There is a fair amount of RPG content here as well. I'd like there to be more, but not at the expense of wargaming content. And there's a decent amount of video game stuff, but I haven't done any of that here in eons, and nobody was watching it anyway, so who cares? So oh no, where do you think I learned all these colorful words? Mostly from my mom, to be completely honest about it. hostile takeover of the player's aid. See, if I had the motivation for this, we could construct an entire bullshit feud. I'll have to talk to them about that next time. We should have a bullshit feud just to drum up interest. So I could say, make videos about, have you seen this Grant? This Grant is a wanted man in 47 states for crimes against wargaming, for having the audacity to play this crappy game that I hate. I mean, I could totally do content like that. But is your plaque? You don't get a plaque for 10K. I didn't even get a fucking email. I got a notification. They didn't even send me a congratulatory form letter that says congrats on hitting 10K. So you get no plaque. You get a plaque at 100K, and now that's a third the size it used to be. So I like heavy cardboard. Heavy cardboard is like a heavy Euro game, a great heavy games channel. So all right. This is true. This is true. We could do this, but I probably won't run into them until at least next Buckeye Game Fest. And that's the kind of thing I'd want to hash out in person. So in any case, sartorial crimes, these accusations are well established. There's a wealth of photographic evidence of Alexander's haberdashery improprieties. What can I say? Ocelot sweaters. I don't even own an ocelot sweater. I don't know what that even is. Is it like, does it make you look like an ocelot, or is it made from ocelot? Start a feud with Dan. We could do this too, but nobody would. I think this would be less entertaining because nobody takes Dan seriously enough to be a participant in a feud. So I congratulated Grant on the player's aid shirt that he was wearing at BGF, where the counters are the leopard print on the counters. That was the right move. So, oh my God, this doesn't land quite like it used to, does it? All right, folks. I want to say I'm not good at being heartfelt and expressive. So I do want to say thank you. To everybody who watches the channel, to everybody who has ever thumbs up a video or a live stream, everybody who has ever sent me anything or contributed to the Patreon in any way, I would like to say thank you. And I would like to say thank you to everybody who's here tonight. Congratulations to the winners of our 10 giveaways this evening. I mean, these were not admittedly hideously huge or expensive product, but I'm happy to have been able to do that. And I want to say thanks. So everybody, it's been a great night. I want to say thank you once again, and we will see you again soon. Gosh darn it. I didn't set the outro video. I updated the outro video. Here's the outro, folks.